A world with double interest rates. How does that look? Stay tuned. We're going to tell you more.
I'm the ringleader, so listen up.
Switch
Are
her
you
up.
scared?
I
Are
quite
you
like
scared
that.
or are you? Did you? Gets the adrenaline going.
I'm feeling good. Yeah, it does.
Anyone who's watching, normally I do the intro. Billy's introing today. Mix it up.
That's big. I'm feeling a bit. I think I'm looking a bit tired, Mark. Actually, I got
Yeah,
a
me
bit
too.
carried away watching the tennis last night.
Until what time?
Second set. So when the Russian had both up, and then I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Bed. So what was
Yeah.
that? 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock.
Oh no, it wasn't too bad, but yeah, great sport, great game. But I did find it a bit of a hit when Raf started to go down. I think he was sort of the
Good old
favorite.
Raf. And when's the finishing?
I think last night. That was the final, men's final.
That was it? Oh, that
Think
was the
so.
final.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
so.
wow. I'm
Yeah.
surprised you didn't stay up for the whole thing.
But I haven't seen the result yet. So, but yeah, it was a great opening game. That's for sure. But
Yeah, nice.
the merry-go-round, the big merry-go-round of real estate. We're talking about interest rates.
Yeah.
This is a big call so tomorrow, for people that don't know, the Reserve Bank of Australia is meeting again to review what the coming weeks, months, 24 months looks like. It looks like there's going to be a big call around, how interest rates look.
You reckon they're going up?
They're certainly looking at it because before, when we were sort of in the poo with COVID, they were talking about not changing interest rates or reviewing them until 2024. Then that sort of quickly changed to 2023. And here we are this week looking at, potentially moving the way we go forward. So it's big.
Yeah, it's interesting that, look, I know the fixed rates are always a bit of a guide, and seeing those fixed rates, moving on those fixed rates in the last year or so has been, I think, alarming. But it's interesting that where we are, the government only really ever had the lever to slow the market down of interest rates. And they used to always, almost like a handbrake, they used to always, guide that property market, slow it down, push it forward. And then when they couldn't push it forward any further, then they started throwing, home buyer incentives into that mix as well to pump people up, which is, the home buyer incentives are pretty new, but the regulator was always interest rates to regulate that property market, slow down or push along that property market. And what you'd think as a consumer and a real estate agent is you'd think that such an animal market last year, you'd think they would have put the interest rates up already.
Yeah. But they're obviously gauging these. The thing with interest rates is, as much as it affects property, it is it does go on to a lot of different sectors. The fact, and then looking at some of their indicators, I think unemployment's where it should be. There was not a huge spike in unemployment with COVID because the stimulus packages they had.
Yeah, everyone's whinging. A lot of employers whinging. Can't find, 1 million people immigrants left the country. A lot of labour left. There's a skill shortage for sure.
Huge stimulus packages. So they've looked after that side of things. Maybe it is time that they have to start, pulling it back because, they've spent a lot of money.
A bucket load, and also don't forget that there's a lot of other levers that they've got this day and age to slow down that property market. So they've differentiated interest rates between investors and owner occupiers. USA market inflations are the one to watch. Yep. But they've used, 0.5% more, you get socked if you're an investor. They've used that to sort of to keep away the investors from the property market pretty effectively. APRA's also brought in a lot of tightening on loans. More stimulus to come from government. Maybe Sydney continues to grow. Yeah, look, I think that stimulus in the market. There are sections that the government wants to push along. Don't forget that the building industry is a huge industry, and I think I think it may see hard times from what I'm hearing with costs, and a lot of builders are just getting caught up in this cost escalation. So I think you may find that, you know, building gives a lot of jobs to the community. So I think you may find that they're going to try to stimulate that new building market, new DAs coming in, stuff happening along there. So it's going to be an interesting one. But Billy, how would you and I do? How would you do if interest rates doubled?
I would,
because
I'd need a pay rise, Mark. You know what? It's interesting because there's obviously people that have taken advantage of these such, you know, historic low interest rates and put all in with investments. We looked at, you know, how low interest rates looks realistically for a lot of people, and it's opened up opportunities to get into the market. For other people, it's opened up opportunities to, you know, do huge things. With, you know, putting prices up that much, it could simply outprice a lot of people coming into the market. But not only that, you know, screw a lot of people that are already sort of on the line. Now, obviously, when the nice thing is the banks, you know, the house of lending, right? So they're going to factor in their projections of, you know, interest rates rising over the next few years before they give you any money. So they've sort of taken that risk into account on your behalf. But it's like everything, it all goes up. It's, you know, it's costly. It's not cheap.
Yeah, it's interesting because being in the property market, the time that I've been in the property market, it still sounds low. Like it sounds, yeah. I think for some people we've gotten really comfortable with the concept of 2.5% interest rates, but I think the reality is it's actually still a pretty low environment for interest rates, even if they're sitting at 5%. I'm not suggesting they are going to double or they are going to sit at 5%, but this morning we just wanted to sort of throw that around that concept and say, what does it look like? And I know I've seen most of us property owners have operated in a 5%, 6%, and 7% interest rate environment. I think the question is, you know, how far have people leveraged themselves since these rates have gone to this low? And I don't think there's double or quadruple the amount of exposure out there to debt. If anything, we're sitting on, you know, debt levels relative to what we were, you know, 5, 10, 15 years ago. So I don't know. I think we could, again, I'm not suggesting it's going there, but I think that you may find that the average bear, it's a hard one, isn't it? What do you reckon?
Well, when you
can stomach it?
I mean, there is definitely indicators for it to go up. But in saying that, and I think we mentioned this in a previous episode, the nice thing, well, I suppose the reassuring thing, it's not nice, but the reassuring thing about it is they're only going to pull these levers when the market's strong, when the market can handle it, and when, you know, the people can actually, you know, afford to cover those changes. They've given, like I said, they've given us so much stimulus that now it's time to set a little bit more of a reality check.
That's a really, really good point, because historically, whenever rates have actually gone up, they're trying to slow down, so like the property market, which is people making money. So it's a really good point, because it's normally that's quite positive that the market is pumping and people are building an equity, and then while it's positive, they're trying to slow down too much positiveness. So I think that people can have that comfort factor to know that, you know, if and when rates do go up, it won't be in a period of like a recession or the GFC or a really, really hard time, it generally happens in a really, really good time in the market. So there's fat building in and built in already.
Yeah, without a doubt. There is, maybe people that are going to look at that and it'll affect confidence a little bit. Low competition for mark buyers. Do you think that's going to change? We've seen a huge amount of buyers in the market. Do you think a slight change in rates is going to, shake that up a bit?
Yeah, look, I think my worry, I always call it the property bus. The property bus has been doing 150 Ks an hour. It's been, to try to get it off that bus or on that bus, it's been like crazy. If that property bus is doing 40, 50, 60 Ks an hour, it's quite comfortable. It's quite a nice environment to buy and sell in that market. If that property bus throws the handbrake up and goes into reverse, that's when we really shit ourselves. So I think, with what Luke was saying, the property bus, if interest rates did go up, that property bus would slow down and would make an easier entry and exit point for buyers and sellers. So yeah, it's less competition and it's probably a more pleasant trade for people to get in and out.
That's it. But rest assured, it's still going in the right direction. There's no articles suggesting that the market's turned, the other way.
Yeah, and there's nothing suggesting double with what we do. We just sort of wanted to throw it around today, not scaremonger, but just to throw it around that concept. Go one extreme, go the other extreme, and throw it and have a chat.
Yeah, a lot of people saving cash. It seems to be that is almost the case. In another episode, we talked about people holding a lot of money in, all of their sort of savings in one place in an offset account and having their mortgages paid 4 years in advance. I mean, that is ridiculous. Yeah. I think the biggest thing to take away is that what's coming in the next week or two, even tomorrow, with what the RBA comes out with, is that it's a reflection of the market as a whole, which is good.
All right, we're going to have a punt today. Are they going to go up tomorrow or level tomorrow?
No, I think they're going to go up a tad, or they're going to, there's going to be some sort of news of it going up, but it's not going to double.
I'm going level.
You're going level.
I'm going level, I reckon.
All right, so we'll review that.
Let's review it. But buddy, thank you very much, everyone. Interesting concept. Let us know your thoughts. Definitely, I think we've it's not like uncharted waters. If rates did go up, we've all operated in that environment of 3% or 4 or 5 or 6. And normally when these rates go up, it's normally to slope an incredibly fast property market. So it's not necessarily a bad thing.
That's it. Can I roll the outro, Mark?
Roll the outro. See you, everyone.
Pleasure.
Thanks.